doing? Can't get the Twitter feed to still work, so no more streaming on Twitter. And YouTube is giving me tons of issues, so we're probably going to have to switch. So I'll keep you posted. But hope everyone's having a good morning so far. Good morning, McRangers. Thank you for tuning in. Good morning, John. Good morning, Patrick. Good morning, Richard. Good morning, Royal Palms. Good morning, Ted. Good morning to some of the people in the background. We don't have as many since Twitter is not working for me, or X, or whatever the hell Elon wants to call it now. So, Elon, who thinks he's an alien. All right, enough said about that. What do we have going on? We have retail sales today coming in flat, which, and this is not, retail sales are not inflation adjusted, so that is pretty disappointing number. Export and import prices. Export prices dropping. Import prices flat. So retail sales ex autos up a bit. What else do we have? We have Redbook dropping from prior. Coming out, we have business inventories, the housing market index, and we got Fed's cooler speaking this afternoon. In terms of the markets, let me just do, there we go, it refreshed. We have Tesla still up, still running, heading into earnings next week. Amazon up, UNH, which reported earnings, is up nearly 300 basis points. We had some more banks. Most of the stuff, Bank of America is up pretty decently. They reported earnings up over 100 basis points today. So that's where we sit with that. The groups, another refresh here. We got real estate and consumer cyclical. I have no idea why real estate's leading. Maybe they're anticipating like the people are going to rush out and buy a ton of homes because the Fed's going to drop a quarter point in September. But energy pulling back, looks like it could trigger that double today. It's already been confirmed. Basic materials, everything else positive. Fed watch, still pause in July, essentially confirmed by Powell yesterday, and cut in September. So that's where we have. And then 3 cuts priced in now, getting priced in this year. 3 cuts. And then 3 more to start the next year. So 6 cuts heading into next spring. Fear and greed, solidly back in greed mode. I've been watching the revolt against YouTube is picking up. Yeah, but I can't stream on X. I can't even stream on X anymore. It shuts me down. X was never an issue, so I'm giving up on X too. I'm giving up, and I refuse to, for a free stream out there, I refuse to pay all this money to X to just be able to do what I used to do, which is literally provide information to people for free. Hello, Charles. So the options are getting limited at this point. So whether the stream survives on Rumble or I just go away, whatever happens. All right, we got Bank of America, which was up, UNH, which was up, Morgan Stanley, which was sort of flat to down. We also had Charles Schwab and PNC. After the close, Interactive Brokers, JB Hunt, nothing that's going to be market moving. Tomorrow, keep an eye on ASML, Johnson & Johnson, and then not market moving, but from a charge-off point of view, Alley and Synchronicity. So that's where we sit there. All right. Let's see. Hopefully we won't get delays also. Lots of selling pressure up here. Lots of selling pressure. So it's going to be interesting. If it breaks through, if the market can really start breaking through. Hold on one second. If the market can start breaking through, especially about this 5,700, it could keep a quick tear to the upside, 57.44, 57.71. So far, sideways correction, getting back to potential daily cycle bottoms. This market just does not want to drop. Look at the cycles on the weekly, just absolutely pinned to the top. Absolutely pinned to the top. It's going to take some event coming out of nowhere because there is no fear whatsoever in this market. Good morning, Heinrich. Good morning. So, support. What am I looking at for support? I'm keeping an eye on today's already established low to yesterday's low area. So, roughly about 56.70 to about 56.65 is my key support area. If we were drop below there on a closing basis, 56, 57.75 is very, very key. All right. So that's where we sit right now. The NASDAQ, selling pressure above this 2740. You can see it the last couple days above 2740. So if we start really breaking above there and can sustain stuff, then I'll watch 20,821, 20,902. But it has to at least follow through with a 4-hour close above 20,740. You see, we have not been able to sustain a 4-hour close above that level. There's lots of selling pressure. Going into the open on the NASDAQ, 20,660 is the major resistance, and very key support is about 20,560. To the downside, I'm keeping an eye on yesterday's low, 20,500 to 20,506. I just already updated these. Oh boy. The Dow, again, as I talked about, we had a triple top area. I said if it got through there, watch for a push higher. We're approaching that next harmonic. That 40,720 above there. Next target is 41,082. So the Dow continuing to climb. Everything's in rah-rah mode. You can see here's a nice weekly break after a big sideways. This would be a huge sideways correction, building a solid base on the monthly and pushing higher. Russell still moving on up. Next target 22.55. And then we have a minor target area of 22.99, so 2300. To finish the 87.5 rule has to get all the way to 23.58. Good morning, Martinez. Key support on the Russell is all the way back at 20,150. The VIX slightly edging up, but on the open, but rolling back down. Not much to talk about here. Only going to sit up and take notice as the VIX really gets above 14. The DAX trying to base at this triple top area. We'll try to see if after this couple day pullback, if it can get a little basing pattern in here around 18,500 to 18,565. Otherwise, nothing to talk about there. We were rallying up a little earlier on the notes. Key support still coming in at 110.24. Next target higher is 111.25. The 10-year yield, you can see here on the 4-hour. On the 4-hour, it's clearly a triple bottom. So the 1-hour is a slightly, because the 4-hour triple bottom, it's still valid, but of a double bottom. Remember, you can have an invalid pattern on a lower time frame. It just needs confirmation on the higher time frame. We need a close of a roughly 4.25 for a little bounce play in the yield. Other than that, the 4-hour, I'm keeping an eye if it breaks down, and then it has to close below 4.137 to continue lower. The 10-2s, pretty sharp reversal today, but a lot breaking out. Just using traditional typical technical analysis, you see the major resistance shelf breaking above it, now coming back to retest key supports. It's going to be interesting to see if this holds, but definitely a little key reversal from yesterday. Still watching for this to continue higher and continue to march higher overall. The dollar index, going to be interesting to see how it closes in relation to yesterday. Yesterday, this was coming in at still one positive, so it won't be a percent B buy. And there's major overhead resistance, but still going to be watching to see if this can at least get a little stronger push before the next potential rollover play. Crude is interesting for me. Already triggered, or not triggered, already confirmed the double top. Can see you're going to be watching for a slight bounce, but then if we get a rollover play, we don't have even confirmation on the 4 hour, and you need a daily close, not a 4 hour, because of this little mini double within the double. You need the daily close to close below 80.81. So if this is traded on the intraday basis, the only way I could personally remain short would be with a follow through close. If it does not close there, it could just turn into a channeling pattern. You see right there in the 50 EMA, which is very key support along with this prior price action, is breaking here. So this is definitely a lower probability double. Gold, really watch gold. Up to the triple top area. Even if gold pulls back, okay? Even if gold pulls back, the key support area is about 20,410 to 20,415. But this is really setting up for a classic breakout play. A classic breakout play. And for me on the breakout, a stop reduction would be 24.75, and for short-term profit area would be around 24.96 to 2500. Has not broken out yet, but even on a pullback, I'll be watching for then the next rotation up. This is really chipping away. So the long-term gold bullish pattern is still in play. Also, if you can't even see the correction on the weekly and the monthly. That's the monthly. Sorry, here's the weekly. You had a sideways correction. A bigger sideways correction holding the rotation zone, poised to break out. So keep an eye if you're bullish on gold on that. The Bank of Japan can't be happy. We had some not confirmed intervention. This is looking to set up a percent B buy if it follows through and can hold the close above yesterday's high. Now that's for a bounce only, but the key target so far for this on a follow through, the first target would be 159.55. On the closing basis, it would be 167.57. Now this is not a strong bottoming pattern yet based off the intervention, or not confirmed intervention, but it has held the prior breakout area. So it looks like the Bank of Japan probably threw away a lot of money and could not get it to sustain lower. We'll see how this closes though. Not expecting a quick pop. Remember, it took a little while after the last intervention to continue to build a solid base and then grind higher. No problem, Sterling. Thank you for tuning in. I hope it eases up at work. But at least you got your vacation in. Euro, pausing up here. Not quite to 87 area, but you know what? The euro could easily pull back a bit, then rotate higher. Remember, we got that 4 hour triple bottom on the dollar. The only thing that makes me watch for a bigger pullback in the euro is if really that dollar index starts. Let's jump back there. If we start following through and really get above the high from Friday, 104.11. Spiders. Hitting the harmonic right there, that little minor harmonic we had. Maybe we'll get a slightly stronger pausing bar, but if we break above yesterday's high, it's still 567.26 is the next major target. On any weakness, there's a gap fill to 561.53, which is really major support. You can see the close back on last Wednesday, the open on Thursday, the sell-off, and then we spiked through it and closed down below that. So that's pretty key support if it did trade through that. Yesterday's low in conjunction with Friday's close is very key. The Qs, similar to the NASDAQ, lots of selling pressure above this 499 area. If we can follow through with a close above about 498.72 on a 4-hour basis, 532 and 501.92. Any weakness, I'm watching for the gap fill to 516.15, and then major support areas about 494.50 to 494. Bitcoin, remember, completed the double. No close above the 62.5 yet, so that's what I'm still watching. In order to remain continued bullish after that double pattern, which completed, I need a close above 65.046. It's already tested key support today at about 62.7. Good morning, Anissa. NVIDIA still. Is the AI hoopla starting to die? NVIDIA, you still have the final target in the 87.5 magnet price, but it can't get there. And when something can't get there, it makes me sit up and take notice. Also, the weekly double top is still in play, but that needs to confirm with a trade below 118.04, 118.04, and then continue with the lower through the close through there. Other than that, based off a weekly chart, it's still a sideways correction. Tesla has a little mini double top. Needs a close below 223.08 to trigger, but you still have the 279.23 magnet price. All right. You still have stuff like Apple. We had the gap above the next harmonic. Not a strong pausing area yet, but it completed that pattern. If it is going to continue higher, 241.71 is the next key target. But this looks like it's also running out of a little momentum. Was that a daily double bottom that triggered yesterday in coin valid? I did not look at coin. And I know you wanted to look at a couple other stocks. No. Oh, this little one? No. Nope. Don't trade that as a double. Don't trade that as a double. You're better to just, if you're trying to play the bullish side, my first target on this would be around 256 area, and then the next target on a continued run up would be 272. I know there were a couple stocks yesterday, at least the charts are working today. So if I don't see those, there's not much to talk about. Again, there's really not much to talk about. The market keeps grinding higher. You don't have the breath following yet. All it's going to take is something out of the blue, and this is a house of cards. But until then, it's continue higher. It's just know where your trailing options are. Other stock medium to longer term time frame was GTLB. Thank you, Sterling. And then there was another one. Medium to longer term. Let me just get this out of there. I mean, you already had your, was that a valid double? Yep. So that was a valid double. Even if you use the aggressive targets, which I completed. Now, is this valid? Yeah. So it looks like yesterday it triggered the double. And I definitely go with conservative targets there. Let's see if we have any clusters here. So let me take off this bigger thing. Yeah, that's valid. It's sort of a channeling one with cycles at the bottom. But as long as, on any bounce, this could be interesting for another rollover play to continue lower. So there we go. There we go right now with that. So that is trigger. So the probabilities say a little bit lower, continued pullback. If it does also continue below this 46.61 level on a closing basis, you could see it retest its lows from here. What would invalidate the pattern? The invalidation point, it's not quite there yet. So at this point, it would be a close above 51.99. All right, not seeing anything else at the moment. So let's just peek back at the S&P going into the open. Really pay close attention on a 5,700 going into the open. Building a higher base here. Building a higher base here. On a breakout above there, there could be a quick trip to this 57.06 if this base does hold. So that's what I will be paying attention to. And using the other harmonics backwards, you see you have a cluster at this 57.05, 50 to 57.06. And then, especially if we get the shorter term close above this 5,700, if that can hold and sustain and fall through with at least a 1 hour close, the target above that would be 57.12 for the shorter term trades only. And then Richard wants Amazon. Amazon, which I haven't updated this chart in a while. Amazon, remember earnings next Thursday? Not much to talk about. This is sort of orderly. We got Prime Day going on for people to spend more money they don't have. But any pullback even that sustains above 188 is just a normal pullback to the breakout area. You can see here also pulling back to the weekly rotation zone. So that's where it's holding above key resistance. On the short term, especially with weekly the cycles getting to the bottom, I'd be watching for a potential little pop here, especially with market strength, to retest these highs. Now in the short term, if it were to break out higher, you do have a decent pausing area there. If it were to break out higher, 205.50 would be the first target, then 209 would be 210 would be the next target. What would concern me if it started closing back below this 188 level. So if you can get decent risk reward, there could be a potential rotation buy setting up. All right. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Hope everyone has a wonderful trading day. I will talk to everyone tomorrow morning. Bye for now.